Hey, Facebook land. If you are a woman entrepreneur in the Houston area, you need to tune in right now because I have Dr. Christina Garcia on with me, who's going to be our May monthly speaker at the Texas Women in Business monthly meeting. Hey, Dr. Christina, how are you doing today?
I am great. Thank you for doing this live with me, Vanessa.
Yeah, thank you so much for being our next presenter at our monthly meeting. Let me make sure that I'm going live. We can see our faces. Of course, it's always a little bit slow, but anyway, well, thank you so much for being here because I know that you are a very busy physical therapist, and I want you to share a little bit more about you, who you are, what you stand for, and a little bit about your business before we dive into what we're going to be speaking about at the May monthly meeting.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Well, yes, you are right. I am very busy. I'm hopping on this call in between going to a networking event, and now I'm about to be a vendor at an event. I'm sitting in a busy parking lot right now, so I apologize if there's any honking or beeping or noise going on around me. But I am Dr. Christina, like you said. I am a doctor of physical therapy, and I am the co-owner of Elevated PT, which is a mobile concierge physical therapy and wellness practice in Southeast Houston. We're also members of TWIB, and I also happen to be the membership director this year. So when you were looking for speakers, to talk to women about topics that, apply to them and not just women, but women business owners, right? I thought, well, what's been the most helpful thing for me in my business and being one of the owners of my business, and being able to automate processes has been a life changer. Now I caveat that with saying, again, my specialty is I'm a physical therapist. I specialize in orthopedics, vertigo, pelvic floor, things like that. So I am not, affiliated with any kind of products that I'm going to talk about in my meeting. I do not have a special certification or a degree in it. But this is something that like I've taught myself throughout having my business for 2.5 years. And like I said, it's been a life changer learning how to automate messaging clients, learning how to automate following up with clients because you get really busy as a business owner. You are trying to follow up with everybody, but you're also still the producer in your business, and so it can be really hard to stay on top of everything. So, in my meeting that I'm leading for TWIB, I'm speaking specifically about the CRM, the Customer Relationship Manager, that we use for my business. I'm going to give specific examples of how we use it to send out automated messages to anybody who reached out to us but maybe didn't sign up yet. Reached out to patients once they sign up and let them know that we've got them moving along in the process. We send out a survey on an automatic basis about 4 weeks into their care, and then when they discharge, we send follow up messages on a regular basis to keep them engaged with us, right? Because we know that keeping people engaged with our businesses is the key to keeping those contacts, to building relationships with people and building, long term growth and wealth in our businesses, right? So I'm going to
Yeah.
talk about that. I'm also going to talk about how our CRM helps us with our website, how it helps us with our text messaging and just regular emails, and how it helps us with our social media as well. Because all those things can be automated in some way, and it saves so much time and a lot of stress off your plate knowing that you have automations in place.
For sure. And I love that you went through the features and benefits of the business aspect of what you're going to be teaching. But let's talk about the personal benefits because when you and I were discussing getting online, and I think other like times we were going to meet up for something, your schedule starts early in the morning. And
Yeah.
one of your priorities, and I noticed that you value your family time and your children. And so, how does these setups and these automations help you be able to honor those values and stick to a schedule that's manageable for you that is a little bit different from other people's schedule without allowing those other people to feel like forgotten about because all of this helps those people remember like or you show them like, hey, I remember you, I see you and stuff like that, so it keeps that connection there. So tell me, how does that benefit you in your personal life?
Yeah, so I think we're all searching for that work-life balance, right? That we've been told we can have as women and as moms, right? And I think, as we've continued to be more proactive in the workspace, women getting more and more involved in the workspace, that whole, you can have it all attitude has changed a little bit, right? Because you can have it all, but maybe not all at the same time, right? And so, like you mentioned, I do have a very interesting schedule because I want to be able to pick my kids up from school and I don't want to still be working once I'm home with them. I start my days at 5 a.m. That's when I start treating patients. And so that means I'm waking up at 3:45 sometimes in order to be ready to go see patients at 5 a.m. And then I treat patients until about 12:30, 1 o'clock. And then I do a couple of admin hours. And then I pick my kids up and I want to be present with them after school. I don't want to be, hey, mommy's working right now and you go play by yourself, or I can't take you to karate. Dad's going to have to take you because I've still got work to wrap up. Now, it doesn't always work that way, right? There's going to be days that, I've still got to work a little bit longer than I want to. But these automations, like you said, they really give me back time with my kids. And they also just help a lot with my anxiety. I think a lot of us, especially business owners, suffer from mental health issues, anxiety issues. And I'm a list person, I'm a set it and then be able to forget it kind of person. And so these automations make it where when someone calls, like I said, it's my job. We don't have an admin. So it's my job to follow up with them. It's my job to have the initial conversation with them, decide if they're a good fit. And because of our model, a lot of people, they'll say to us, well, let me think about it and I'll get back to you. Right. And I don't want to have to keep them on a list and thinking, okay, I got to follow up with so and so. I got to follow up with so and so. So instead, we've set automations where I say, okay, no problem. I've got a specific workflow that I can put them in that they'll get a message a day later. They'll get another message a week later. They'll get another message 2 weeks later, checking in and just saying, hey, I know that you might still be thinking about it. Just wanted to check in and let you know we're still here. So that takes a lot of stress and anxiety off of me. And then I don't have to remember to do that during the time that I should be spending with my kids.
Mm.
Like I said, it's not just that, it's keeping that relationship once someone's discharged. It's setting automations for, hey, we've got this event coming up, so I want people to get messages every so often reminding them of the event. When you set up these workflows, you really can personalize them so much to exactly what you need for your busy life. And then you don't have to have that looming feeling over your head of, I have something to do, I have something to do.
Yeah.
And then you're not really present with your family because you're just thinking about work instead of being present with your family.
Yes, I freaking love automations. And I remember I would have people ask me, how are you showing up everywhere? I'm like, well, that's been automated for quite some time. It's not me actually doing those things. And
Yes.
so this sounds like there's a lot of mental health and emotional health benefits for this because what you were saying is like you're present with your kids. And to me, that is emotionally being healthy so that you can give them what they need and vice versa. And it helps you raise children that see my mom was present with me and she was very mindful with her time. And I just feel like that's a really good ripple effect that just a system can create for you. So, one last question, maybe two questions before we wrap up, because I know that you're really busy. Um, if someone's watching this and they're like, oh my gosh, no automations, tech systems, and they're shutting down already, thinking it's going to be too hard, what would you say to them about overcoming that fear?
Yeah. I would say one of the best mantras that I took out of some business coaching that we did when we started our business was perfect in action is never going to it's never going to be as good or better than imperfect action. Or you can say it another way, but basically you've just got to try things. You have to try. It's not going to be perfect the first time, it's not going to be perfect the second time, but how are you ever going to know what works and what doesn't if you don't try? And I think you can apply it to, if you start thinking about, yeah, in my life in general, when I first joined that sport, when I first picked up that new hobby, I was not perfect, but I practiced and I tried and I showed up even though it was imperfect. And I think we all get wrapped up too much, especially with our branding and our businesses can be our babies. And so we feel like I can't put it out there unless it's perfect because I don't want people to judge me. I don't want people to think that I'm unprofessional in any way. But what we're seeing online is that people really want to see the real you. People want to see mistakes you make. People want to see that you tried something and it maybe didn't work out, but now you're going to try something else because they believe that resilient story that you keep coming back and trying again. That's what people believe in. And that's when they start thinking, so even if I work with her and it's not perfect the first time, she's going to keep trying and trying and trying and figure this out with me. So I would say, just keep in mind, just tell yourself the mantra of imperfect action is better than perfect inaction and doing nothing because you're fearful of it being perfect.
So true, so true, because you're not getting anywhere unless you put the car in motion. Okay, my last question. Okay, we actually have one more silly question after this one, and I promise we're
Okay,
done.
okay.
My last question is, who would you say this workshop is for, or this meeting is for?
I think it's for any business owner that is getting to the point where you are a producer in your business, but you're also the business owner. And so you're doing the admin work, you're doing the product, putting it out there. My product being physical therapy, your product might be an actual physical product, but you're the one making that and doing the admin, and you just don't have time for both. You're running out of time, but you also can't afford an admin yet, or you don't want an admin. You want to run it all yourself. Type A person right here.
Yeah.
I think that this would be a great workshop for you because it shows you how you can use automations to do for you what an admin might do for you. To do for you what, if you could clone yourself and have your clones do the work for you, then this is the closest thing that we can get to a clone at this point is using these automation tools. So if you have that feeling of, man, if I could just clone myself, I could get all this stuff done, I think this workshop will be super helpful for you.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, and the last question was, I promise this is the last question. Why the picky PT? Why picky?
Well, I would say that I've always been told my whole life that I'm super picky. It started as being like a picky eater, right? Which I'm trying to work on. I'm eating my veggies now and being, much more inclusive in lots of foods. But I have lots of patients as I've been a PT for 13 years that tell me I'm super picky about how they do their exercises. I'm not just like, hey, go do those bridges. I'm like, okay, do those bridges, but I need you to make sure that you're rolling through your pelvis and your knees are in line and don't weight shift one way or the other. And it looks like your foot's kind of arching out, so let's fix that. And maybe you need to pull your rib cage in. And I get down to the nitty gritty pickiness of it. So I think that it just puts across to people that you're not going to get just a generic exercise program from someone like me. You're going to get all the details of exactly how you should be doing it and how you should not be doing it. So you get the full benefit of what you're doing. And like I said, I'm picky in everything. I'm also picky in my automations. Again, type A, admitting that. And so I don't want to just hand it over to someone and say, hey, you do it for me. I'm like, no, I want control over that. So even in the future, I have made changes to my automations. I have let them go on for 6 months, a year, and then I start thinking, I feel like our messaging has changed. So I think I need to change that. So I do. I go in and I have the ability to change it versus having to go through a vendor or somebody else and say, hey, can you change that for me? I have control over doing that. And so I like to show people how to have control over their own business, control over their own bodies, their own control. So that way they can make changes as needed. So yeah.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for getting on live with me because tomorrow is the last day that they can sign up for early bird. Now, it's not registration closing, but if they want to save some money, tomorrow at the monthly meeting is the last day to sign up for the May monthly meeting early bird. And so we wanted to make sure that everyone got a taste and understood what they're getting themselves into so that they sign up early because we want to see them in the room. So I appreciate your time, and then I will see you in the board chat.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for having me. And I look forward to the monthly meeting tomorrow and also the one next month. So hope to see
Yes.
you all there.
Oh, yes. And then for everyone, the monthly meeting will be on May 14th in May, or obviously next month. And I believe it's going to be a luncheon, but more details are going to be in the link that I drop in the comments. So you'll have all the up-to-date information when you go to the TWIB website. So thank you so much, and I'll see you later.
Thank you.
Bye.